So I'm going to show you in this video how to install the ELPC 40B rear view license plate mount camera. And this actually comes with the BV800 ACP head unit kit from Boss Elite Audio. So I got that from Crutchfield. I'm going to be showing you what I learned, and then just to how to make an easier job of installing the rear camera. Okay, so I'm going to show you the wiring I did. So what you have is you can feed the wire through from the top there, and then just run it through here, and then get it right under the panel there, and then feed it from here. From here, what you want to do is then get it under the chair. So I'm going to just show you really quick. So then you want to run that wire in the center of the seat, just along the right hand side, and be careful not to get caught on any of the electrical tubing stuff. So when you're adjusting the seat, it won't catch on that. And then finally, when you have it at the end here at the back, I had it run through here, and then I just use a zip tie here to I just use a zip tie here to loosely keep the wire in this sort of position here, and then run it down into the side. So then after you have that wired around the end, then what you can do is then you can, in this part here, you can run it through this little plastic panel here, and you can get under this thing. You just need to pry this off with your pry tool, or in my case I just use a dinner knife with some electrical tape, and just get in on the inside here and pry upwards along this panel to get this off. Then after that, you can run the wire through this little tunnel here where the electrical cable is to the back. So same thing on the passenger side. So you can just use your pry tool and pry off this plastic panel here from the inside here, and then you should be able to see that tunnel where the electrical wiring is through. Now, to actually get the wiring through this tunnel here, it's quite difficult to do that with such a small wire. It's not very stiff. So what I recommend you do is get some spare wiring that you have around. So in my case, I had some 14 gauge speaker wire that I had lying around, and just get some electrical tape, wrap it around this the dash cam power and signal wire, and then wrap it in, and then use this to feed it through that tunnel there and get to the other side. So for this next part, you want to get that wire under the rear passenger chair, and then I'm not sure, it's really hard to see it here. I can't get a good shot, but basically what you want to do is get the wire under here and in between the seams of this panel, right under there. If I can just lift this up, you want to get it basically in the gap in between here and the plastic trim panel on the side. Run along the side there all the way to the back. So just continue on through the back there, all along to the very rear of the car. So once you got into the back here, you run that wire along here and the trunk all the way along this inner part there and along to the edge here, and you can actually access this back panel here by going with your pry tool. You want to actually get this back piece off, this whole back plastic piece here. The pry tool, and you go under to get this piece out. Once you've gotten that piece out, you can then access this pillar here and remove it on the side here to get that wire hidden under that little seam there. So you can just go again with your pry tool around the little rubber lip and then just get in behind this to get loosen up this piece here. Actually see that this piece here is covering over on top. So you do want to remove this piece first. This top piece here first. So the one back here, again with the pry tool to loosen this, and then you can access this right panel here. Open this one up, and then you can get this here. So the wire will basically run through here all the way up, and then up here through to the boot. That's how the wire will run through, and then that wire will run through there. So in order to get into this boot piece, you really have to tug on it to get it loose out of this boot. It's actually really tough for me, but when you're actually getting the wires to go through this boot into the other side there, what you want to do is get like a metal coat hanger like this, and then you want to have electrical tape. You want to wrap that to your actual wire that you'll need. So in this case I just used a 14 gauge wire. The stock wire that comes with the the rear camera isn't really long enough to get all the way to the front of the vehicle. So what I did was I used this wire to kind of connect to the dash camera, and then just had this wrapped around. Basically you want to have this attached to your coat hanger and then wrap it around with the electrical tape, and then that you're going to use that to kind of get into that boot area to feed the wire through this rubber boot. And then of course you're gonna need some lubricant in order to get that through. So what you would want to do is, after you've wrapped it up with the electrical tape, you get some Vaseline and rub it liberally around the outside so that you can slide this through the boot. You'll also need RCA female adapters so you can actually connect the video cable to the very end. Again, it's not very long, so I was only able to get maybe the wire from the back of the vehicle to maybe about here, and that's where I had to attach some cable to extend it all the way so it could connect to the cable from the front of the car, basically. So you're gonna need that. You're gonna need the RCA female adapters. You'll also need some, I guess, speaker wire or power wire in order to connect to. And then of course if you want to I guess ground the rear camera, you're going to need a ring terminal, and that will mount on the side here. There's actually a ground nut there where you can just plug that in and get that all fixed up. So the hardest part of this install is really getting into this getting this plastic trim piece off. This is really difficult to get off. So what I did was I started off the top here, get in with your pry tool along the edges, and then slowly work your way around here. So there's a bunch of really thick metal clips, hold them in place. So that I think there's about 2 here. There's another 2 in between there. And then also this last part here, usually the hardest part is to get this big piece off. When you get around the sides in here, you can see a little bit of an opening. It's kind of hard to see. There's a little bit of an opening that you can kind of fit your pry tool in. There's quite a few clips in there, so you'll have to really really force your, either you have a really long flathead that you can push in to get those clips to unlock this latch. Other thing I wanted to mention is you want to remove the window lift gate when you're going to get this panel off, because if you're trying to get that panel off, a little hook for the locking mechanism for the window will get locked in here, and you wouldn't be able to separate this panel from the lift gate. So just make sure you get that off before you remove this piece. Here are just some photos I have for the wiring process at the back of the car. This is what it looks like before getting the wiring through the rubber boot and into the back of the vehicle. This is the opposite side of the rubber boot. So this is basically on the inside facing the rear of the vehicle on the top of the ceiling. When you finally get the plastic trim piece off the back of the cargo hatch, then you'll actually get this like plastic covering piece, and you kind of have to just get under the adhesive to peel it off in order to access the opening where you're going to drill the hole and seal the wiring and pull the wiring through for the camera. So when you're getting that last piece there at the end, you're going to need a 1/2 inch rubber grommet. I got these ones. And that will be enough to properly seal the hole that you're going to be drilling in the back of the trunk. And I'll just show you, this is the picture of what it looks like after I finished. And then you can just feed the wire through and I used black silicone, black RTV silicone to seal the gap, both on the inside and on the outside of the rest of the hole, and keep the wire in place.